It is Monday, March 14th, 2002. This is Baseball Today. We're together.
Look at this.
Look at this. We can touch each other. We don't have to reach through a screen.
I like the hug we just gave each other, but maybe not every day.
Well, it won't be, because I think we're only together today and tomorrow, at least for now, until we build that huge palatial John Boy Media Baseball Today estate out on the West Coast.
I'm ready for that.
Okay, cool. It's been a fun few days. Hopefully you've seen some great content come out of the John Boy Media compound here in Phoenix, Arizona. It's been a blast. Still more to come. More ball players are dropping by, but in the meantime, we had some bombshells drop over the last 24 to 48 hours. So let's break it all down on the first Baseball Today of the week, and let's start with the big-time trade between the New York Yankees and the Minnesota Twins. Heading to the Bronx, Josh Donaldson, Isiah Kiner-Falefa, and heading to and also Ben Rortvedt.
Okay.
Rortvedt.
Did you work on that?
Rortvedt. I said it 18 times last night. I still butcher. Rortvedt. Thank you. Heading to Minnesota, Gary Sanchez and Gio. Yankees considerably better today than they were 24 hours ago.
I think they are. I love Josh Donaldson. I'm like a big supporter of his. Maybe I'm biased a little bit, but the guy's an elite hitter. That's just the bottom line. Can he still pick it at third base? Yes. Is it going to be Josh Donaldson of old? Probably not. He's probably going to hate that I say that. If he watches this, I'm sorry, Josh.
And he probably won't be Gio Urshela over there, in fairness.
Sure, but what he brings with his bat is something different.
Right.
And, anytime you can upgrade your offense like that, you do it. I think what this really signifies is they truly believe in Peraza or Volpe. Not going after a big-time free agent, having Kiner-Falefa come in as sort of a bridge player. I think he's under control for 2 more years. He's a really good player.
He's a good player.
Fans should be very excited about him. The guy is an absolute grinder. He's going to work his butt off there. I think he's going to love playing in New York. But you got him for 2 years, and then, like I said, I think they really believe in these 2 shortstop prospects they have. And when the time for that to happen comes, they'll be ready.
So I think they are marginally better, but I don't think that this is the final piece of their offseason puzzle at all. So if I'm a Yankees fan, I sit there and I look at it and I said, okay, what is the next move? Obviously, everybody in the world wants either a trade for Matt Olson or to sign Freddie Freeman, and your third choice there is Anthony Rizzo, and you probably end up moving Luke Voit. Is Gleyber Torres part of the equation on the way out of town? Where does DJ LeMahieu end up getting his 500 at-bats? So all that stuff is still moving. To me, the most important part of yesterday's trade was that they now have a credible shortstop at shortstop. And you can look at the stats and say that he hasn't played enough innings there and all that sort of stuff. This is a guy that was a catcher, moved to third base, won a Gold Glove there. He's going to be just fine defensively. And in this lineup, they need a dude that can catch the ball there and can frame it behind home plate. And you could say whatever you want about Gary Sanchez over the years. He was a problem behind the dish. Every year we heard, okay, he's improved this, he's improved that. No. And you know plenty of pitchers talk in the clubhouse when there's a guy back there that they don't trust, how that can fuck them up.
100%. I mean, Cole already has Higashioka as his everyday catcher.
Yep.
I think he's going to get plenty more at-bats now, and then Rortvedt here is going to come in. I don't know a lot about him, so I don't want to speak too much about him.
Right. You hear the reports that a developing bat, but really good defensively. In fact, the Yankees catching instructor worked with him in Minnesota, so he has knowledge about him. All that's fine. You can paint whatever picture you got about this. In the 5 players that were involved in this deal, he is far and away number 5 in terms of importance.
Hey, maybe he won't be.
Now.
That's the thing about these trades, man. You kind of never know.
I know, but what I'm saying is if you were to list it in terms of impact this year, he's number 5 going into the season.
You made a good point about the Yankees. There's like a logjam there now in the infield. Even without an extra first baseman coming in, like you still have to figure out what to do with Torres, Voit, and LeMahieu.
Yeah. There's going to be other moves made.
Yeah.
So that, to me, is the most interesting part of it.
I think this is a great trade for the Yankees. There is more to come, but I think if you're a Yankee fan, you should be happy.
Yeah. But it's not Correa, and if it's not Freeman, and it's not Olson, then it feels like a failed offseason for the Yankees, and I'm not so sure that's exactly it. But the 2 most important parts are you've got guys that can field it short and behind the dish, we think. And if that's the way it works out, then you are going to be marginally better. Are you going to be better than Tampa, Boston, and Toronto in that division? I'm not ready to go there. I'm just not. But one other quick thing here.
Sure.
We know that Donaldson and Garrett Cole had a beef last year. What has to happen? Like day one, we saw Donaldson appeared in the clubhouse. Does he walk over to him? Does he make the first move, or is it Garrett Cole that has to come to him?
I don't think it's like immediately Josh walks in, where's Garrett? Like, that's not going to happen. But eventually today there will be a face-to-face, and they'll look each other in the eye, realize they're teammates, and that's it. Dap each other up, and it'll be a thing of the past. I promise. When you're teammates, all that goes out the window.
Josh Donaldson challenged what Garrett Cole's all about. This wasn't like, hey, dude, you threw the ball at my head.
Doesn't matter. They've got a common goal now, and they'll pursue that goal with relentless passion, Chris.
Okay. All right. Another big trade involving a New York team over the weekend. Chris Bassitt moves from the West Coast, the Oakland A's, to the New York Mets. Where is the team from Queens in the National League pecking order right now, in your opinion?
I honestly cannot believe I'm about to say this. I think they're the favorite in the NL, and Vegas agrees with me big time.
Did you hear that, Mets Twitterverse? This guy, well-known Mets hater, according to you, not according to him or me or anybody else out here, says that the Mets are the team to beat in the National League.
How could they not be? Look at what they have,
I agree.
Chris. I think there's a lot of really, really good teams in the AL right now. I think there's a few good teams in the NL. I think the AL is very much heavy-handed right now. But, I mean, the Mets' rotation with Bassitt and Scherzer and DeGrom. And
I like the Ottavino pickup.
Exactly. I mean, that's going to be one of my under-the-radar picks for later, bro.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay? Let's relax a little bit. What they've done is incredible. They've turned that franchise around very, very quickly. Now, they had some good pieces already, but to come in and sign the guys and make the moves that they've made already this offseason, I mean, how can you not just be completely ecstatic as a Mets fan? And like we just talked about the Yankees, like the Mets are challenging the Yankees for Team of New York. And I know like people are going to say, no, it's not true. It's always going to be Yankees. Dude, not the way that Uncle Stevie's doing business. It's reminiscent of the Yankees of old. I'm sure I'm not the first one to have that take, but he's splashing.
So, I said this in the offseason. I thought maybe the biggest pickup they had in the offseason was Buck Showalter. And I know that you're not a huge manager guy. Right, but he is a guy that brings people together. And we thought when we were watching the Mets last year that they were such a shit show that they couldn't get it going, right? And you could feel it. Like when Trevor May appeared on the Rose rotation and he wanted to talk about the Mets, he was like, it's just New York's different. And when you hear that all the time from guys who get there for the first time. Yeah. And they've had a lot of influx of talent there now over the last, 2 seasons. How does it come together? It's one thing to put all these guys on a field and you're like, wow, this feels like all-star-ish. It's another to have them all work together. And let's remember, I hear you screaming right now, Atlanta Braves fans. You're like, we're the champs. Not only did we win the division, we won the fucking World Series. Like, we are the champs. Depending on how the Freddie Freeman thing plays out. If he goes back to Atlanta, do you change your opinion?
I mean, they're up there. I don't think it doesn't matter if I say the Mets are 1 and the Braves are 2. It doesn't really matter. I mean, they're going to be one of the better teams in the NL, regardless if they have Freddie or not. But, yeah, I think that obviously helps them. But look at what the Mets have done. Mm-hmm. I can't even list all of their additions.
I know.
It's a list too long for this show.
It's a lot of good players. It's a lot of good players, and a lot of good players on short-term deals, too.
A lot of good players from the Oakland A's, too, by the way.
So I would have them. I would have the Mets up there just with the way that the rosters are presently constructed.
Okay.
I would have the Mets. Then I think I would have the Dodgers, although I'm not sure. Then I would have San Francisco. Then I'd have Atlanta, and then I'd have Milwaukee. I think that's where I would go.
If the Dodgers go out and get Freddie Freeman.
Right. I mean, then things are very fluid. All right. Minnesota Twins made another trade this weekend. So are you more surprised to see Sonny Gray end up in Minnesota via a trade or Nelson Cruz ink a deal with the Washington Nationals?
I think it's got to be Nelson Cruz with the Nationals. I mean, he's a guy that can go help any team right away. I mean, what is he? Is he 40?
I think he's 57.
57 years old now, and he just got a lot of money paid to him by the Nationals. I think it's
guaranteed $15 million.
I think it's for them to have someone hit behind Soto. I understand that in the baseball aspect of it, but as far as like where they're at in their franchise and their window, I don't really understand it. And could he be a trade piece come, July? Of course.
He was traded last year.
Of course. So maybe that's what they're thinking. He could be flipped before the season even starts. I mean, what teams do now to get prospects, like they'll pay a guy like this. They'll take on contracts to get prospects. Maybe they said, hey, we can get him right now. Mm-hmm. Maybe we'll flip him to somebody. Someone gets hurt in spring training, needs a DH. I don't know. I'm very surprised with it. I'm happy for the Nationals. That's great. you're going to have someone hit behind Soto. He's not going to get – he might still get walked a zillion times.
Yeah, he
but,
is.
It helps. It
does help. People would say, well, why does Nelson Cruz want to play in a team that feels like it's a, at best a fourth-place club in its division and more likely a fifth-place club, right? Who knows what his motivations are? Listen, he got paid pretty well for a guy in his 40s.
Exactly.
So if it's about money, fine. I don't ever begrudge a guy for whatever decisions he wants to make. He's been close to a ring several times, like this close to catching a ring, all that sort of stuff. I'm a big Nelson Cruz fan. I like him a lot, I like what he brings.
You just lost all of our Texas fans right there with that simple joke. Sorry, guys.
I'll see you two later. And so, the thing is what is Washington's goal this year?
I don't know.
I know exactly what it is.
Okay, you tell me.
Make Juan Soto as happy as he can be so that he wants to stay and sign the first $500 million deal in the sport before he hits a free agency. That's what I really think they need to do. They need to prove to him that they've got enough young guys in their system to where they're going to compete.
Okay.
And make him feel comfortable. And if having a guy like Nelson Cruz around makes him comfortable, but then again, Nelly might be like, yo, listen, bro, you are great. Yeah. I've moved around the last couple of years. It ain't that bad.
It's not that bad.
So, I don't know, but I think that's Washington's goal this year.
I was talking to, we had some of the A's guys over yesterday, and we all know that every single A is on the trading block.
Yes.
And I was telling the same thing. I was like, you guys love each other. You love the clubhouse. You love the culture there, and that's special. But you go somewhere else, you're going to feel the same way about those guys. Unless it's a horrible clubhouse, which I've never really experienced. Every single place I went, it kind of felt similar.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just a bunch of dudes with a common goal. Like, and gosh, I don't want National fans. I want Juan Soto there forever.
Yeah,
but I don't know the plan. I need to hear the plan for the Nationals and with Juan Soto.
Real quickly, I do want to touch on the Sonny Gray issue because you looked at that rotation. We're like, God, they don't have anybody at the top of it. Is this team close to competing? Like with the moves that they've made?
I can't really tell. I don't think they're close for competing for like a World Series. I really don't.
What about that sixth playoff spot?
I mean, maybe if everything falls correctly, they're not tearing it down. I think that was Mr. Pohlad came out and said, like, we're not rebuilding. So this is sort of a way to switch things up without tearing everything down.
By the way, you don't have to call him Mr. Pohlad. You don't work for the Twins anymore.
I respect him. I like him a lot.
Okay.
I have a great relationship with him.
Okay, good.
So I'll call him whatever I want to call him.
Fair enough. Shove that back in Rose's face. You're more than welcome to do that. You won't be the first one.
No, I kind of like the Nationals. I don't really know their direction. I know they want to win. They're trying to win.
Well, listen, their payroll based after they dished off Donaldson's $50 million.
Sure.
Their payroll's back under $100 million.
They're linked to Trevor Story. If they go get him, then I'm saying obviously they want to compete this year. I think they do. They're not trying to lose. They're not rebuilding, like I just said. So they're going after it. It's always a little unconventional there.
Yeah,
I believe.
Well, I think that's the way they have to play and they have to think.
Why? The Pohlad's got money.
I know they do, but you know that their theory has always been whatever we make, we'll spend. We're not pulling from this business in order to pay for that business. That's always been their business.
They're not going to get close to the CBT or anything.
No,
like that.
never. But they've had a payroll that it hasn't been under $100 million in several years.
I mean, no payroll in the big league should ever be under $100 million.
Whether it should or it isn't,
okay.
That's not the discussion.
Yeah.
We agree on that part. But there are plenty of teams and good teams that where it's under $100 million. Okay?
Minnesota fans deserve
they're good people up there.
Competitive team. I think they're going to get it this year.
All right, let's move on. Which signing's going to have a bigger on-field impact in the National League West? Clayton Kershaw's return to L.A. or Carlos Rodon's 2-year signing with San Francisco?
I love me some Kersh. I think he's going to do great this year, but I think it's Rodon. And the kind of pitcher he is the kind of pitcher the Giants' development can really make shine. And he doesn't need a lot of buffing right now. He shined last year, 2.37, 13-5. Like, this guy's a pitcher, and they needed to replace Gausman. Mm-hmm. If the Giants want to run it back, they had to do something big like this. I wanted Rodon to go to the Dodgers. That was my pick for him. I think it makes just as much sense in San Francisco. He's going to have a great year up there.
They have a fascinating starting rotation.
They do.
Like, all veteran-laden, a lot of the guys have injury question marks, and he adds to it, right? Last year, he was phenomenal the first half of the year, ended up making the All-Star game. He didn't work more than 5 innings in any of his last 8 starts from mid-July on. And then Clayton Kershaw, he came back, and he said yesterday at his first press conference, it was down to 2 teams. I was not thinking about retirement. My arm is structurally sound. Now, Kershaw has had injuries over the last few years, but it's been the back. This is the first time that everybody in Dodgertown got worried about his arm. Like, is he a guy that can pitch the full season? He came out and he said, I have been assured by the medical staff my arm is in great shape. I didn't come back for an extra year after my wife just gave birth to our 4th child in order to blow out my arm.
Yeah.
So he has done all the proper now, could it happen on a pitch in May? Of course it can. That can happen to anybody in the sport.
No, it won't.
But I'm just saying is that he feels confident. And if he feels confident, then the Dodgers should feel confident. To me, this is a bigger deal for the Dodgers, to be honest with you.
They needed depth for sure.
You look at that rotation, you're like, okay, Buehler, check. Urias, check. Gonsolin, okay.
Check him, bro.
Okay,
Come
good.
on.
Yeah, solid. He had injury issues last year. Kershaw, now you build off that, and it still wouldn't surprise me if they end up making a trade for one of those A's guys.
Yeah, I mean, look, Kershaw helps immensely. They do need depth. We got to talk about Bauer. At some point, we have to figure out what's going on with it. Is he going to get suspended by the league?
Right.
Is he going to be a Dodger? Because that changes everything.
It does, but the news over the weekend was he continues to be on this commissioner's list, so they're pushing the date off again until March 19th. And once again, if you haven't been following the story, he has not been criminally charged and will not be criminally charged in Pasadena with what happened there. But, the commissioner can step in and punish guys even when they are not criminally
Precedent has been set for that 100%. If they come back, and he comes back in the rotation, this is a completely different team.
I know. The other part of this is, can he walk back into that clubhouse?
Yeah, I mean, I know people don't want to hear it, but yeah, he can. He can.
I want to do a little more poking around before I give an answer on that. It's an uncomfortable thing you have to talk about because you feel dirty even discussing the baseball side of it. It is what we do, and there is a possibility, whether he's on the Dodgers or some other team, that he's going to compete. And if he competes, you can't act like he's not there. Whether you agree or disagree with whatever has run its way through the legal system.
I don't condone anything that went on. I mean, we're not talking about any of that off the field. So I'm saying this guy comes back on a team, it's a game changer.
It is a game changer. But as of right now, the little question I asked, was Kershaw or Rodon? And we went into a different tack, which is fine.
And I said Rodon, and you said Kershaw.
Yeah.
Look at us.
I am a big Rodon fan, though. I really am. I'm rooting for him.
I can miss bats, dude. And
I mean, I thought his career was over at the end of the 2020 season.
I'm sure he probably did too.
Yeah. All right.
Not anymore. Holy shit, dude.
Best non-headline move over the last 48 to 72 hours.
Okay, I got one.
Yes.
And it's not Ottavino.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I changed it up on you.
Okay.
It's Joe Kelly.
Great one.
Joe Kelly to the White Sox. That bullpen. I forgot they signed Kendall Graveman. Did you remember that?
Yes, I did.
We got Liam Hendricks, Craig Kimbrell, Joe Kelly, Kendall Graveman,
Aaron Bummer,
Crockett.
No, Crochet.
Sorry.
Crockett and Tubbs. Were you a big Miami Vice fan back in the day?
I think I follow this guy on Instagram, too. Great Instagram page. I don't know. And there's one other guy, too, and we're forgetting
But
someone.
they all throw over 95.
Shoot.
Did you say Kimbrell?
I did. And Kopech is now probably going into rotation.
He is going because Rodon's gone.
This team is
I think Kimbrell gets traded.
Sure. Okay.
Before the season starts. I think that's part of the reason they picked up his option, which I think it's $16 million. Yeah, you know what? I think they're the most complete team going into the season. Right now, they have the fewest questions.
It's them or the Astros.
Well, if they bring back Correa, then I'll agree with you. But right now, they've got a kind of a gaping hole in between second and third. I don't know if you've.
I'm assuming Story or Craig goes there.
Okay. Well, then if so, then we can talk.
Yeah, this White Sox team is going to be something.
By the way, the Astros just got some bad news on Monday. Dusty Baker said Lance McCullers is behind schedule in his return. And so it sounds like he will not start the season on time. And this is a guy that's battled injuries the last few years. When he's been on the field, he's been fantastic.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. One of the best pitchers in baseball, but we'll see what that means. For me, best headline move was Brad Boxberger going back to Milwaukee. Had a great run last year. 11 Ks over 9, more than 70 appearances. You know, we talk about the two-headed monster of Hader and Williams back there, but really the rest of that bullpen, they find roles, and you always hear about that it starts from the back moving forward. And if it gets easier to identify your role as you move closer to the starting pitcher, right? It would be like eating your dessert first on the meal. But you've got Hader there in the 9th, you got Williams there in the 8th, or whatever, outs you need in high leverage situations. Yeah. But Boxberger's a guy that nobody talked about, and I think they gave him $2.5 million to continue to fortify that bullpen. It's a great move by the Brewers. Finally,
Brewers, you need offense, though. Let's go.
Yeah, I still think they do.
Come on, man.
I agree. I think they should make one more play for a big bat. And as we've seen over the last few days, teams are willing to trade.
Yeah.
And
it does feel that way, doesn't it? It feels like nothing's set. Like, even if someone gets signed, like, I guess maybe it's recency bias because Falefa was on the Twins for 24 hours.
Right. Did they have time to retire his jersey yet or no?
Maybe. But, dude, like, it seems to me like I just said Nelson Cruz could get traded before the season.
Yeah.
And, like, I believe that. Like, things are wacky right now.
Finally, John Gray, who's a new pitcher for the Texas Rangers, put out a great post on social media where he's holding the little, like, kindergarten sign where it's like, get to know me. So how would you fill out this list? This says Jonathan's first day of spring training. So the most interesting stuff, it's like I am blank years old, my new team's the Texas Rangers, and then there's a few categories. I love, what do you love? How would you fill that in? He loves animals and gaming.
I love my family, Korean food, hacky sack, and Lord of the Rings.
Oh, I love that.
You?
I love my family. I love talking baseball.
Ooh.
I love being at the John Boy Media Mansion. And that's about it. Other than that, I'm very boring. I can't do hacky sack. And
we'll find out today.
Korean food gives me gas, although I will do it occasionally. And my favorite food.
I mean, it's right now. It's
his is waffles, by the way.
I don't love waffles, by the way.
Oh,
peanut butter and syrup if I do waffles. Korean food or sushi. I'm like an Asian food kind of guy.
Oh, didn't you have sushi yesterday?
I did with some A's players.
And how was it?
It was like slightly above average. I'm used to some pretty good sushi out in L.A. So.
I know, we get it.
Sorry.
Yeah, we get spoiled.
LA, but
can I ask who picked up the check?
We split it.
You did?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
If you really want to know, Matt Chapman put it on his credit card, and then we all Venmo'd him.
Ah, okay. So you have Chappie's Venmo.
I do.
Solid.
You want to know what's funny?
Huh.
This last tidbit. He had to change his Venmo name because he said he had just his name before, like Matt Chapman. He said fans were requesting money for him because he was sucking so bad.
No, they weren't.
He said, I was getting so many Venmo requests from fans saying you suck, like pay me money, that he had to change his Venmo
Dude, that's
name.
funny. That's a great one. I love that. By the way, with his stash, first of all, so this is the first time I've met him up close. I haven't, I've interviewed him over satellite or whatever. He has no beard. He can't shave at all.
He's got a mustache.
But he's got this little wiry mustache working right now.
Don't call it a little wiry mustache.
But that's what it is. He basically said, he was kind of proud of it. He's like, yeah, it's the most filled in it's ever been. But from a distance, with his sunglasses on, he looks like Eric Burns.
I could see that a little bit.
He looks like Eric Burns. We might have to do a current side-by-side just to bring it up with the new look Chapman and Eric Burns when they're both wearing their shades.
That guy's raring to go, by the way.
Yeah, he is. I'm looking forward to his season. By the way, my favorite food, if I had to make it, I'd make a great panini in the sandwich maker.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that.
So I like
What's
a
the
hot
inside?
sandwich.
What's the inside of your great
I'll go
panini?
turkey.
Okay.
I go sun-dried tomatoes in there.
You lost me.
What?
No, I don't do that.
Really?
Yeah.
I put some pesto.
That's like a boomer thing, bro.
It's definitely not a boomer thing.
Yeah, it is.
It's absolutely
What's
not.
before boomer is that, whatever that is.
What?
The greatest generation?
People don't like sun-dried tomatoes?
I don't.
Robbie? What the fuck?
See?
I'm the only guy. I'm going to, you know what? I'm going to put that on social media. I'm going to walk around the entire house and find it. All right, so we're both heading to a couple camps today. Hopefully, there's going to be more content coming out of the house. And the big deal is baseball today is back 5 days a week.
Let's go, baby.
I love it. I love it that
Baseball's
baseball's back. We're feeling good. Let's get excited about our teams. Let's get excited about free agent signings. Let's get excited about the trades that are happening. And let's get excited about just continuing to build this show together, because it's the first time that we're going to have this show for the full season. Remember, we started last year in like May.
That's right.
Okay?
5 days a week, all
5 days a week.
long.
You're going to get exactly what you need over like 22 to 25 minutes, and it's that simple.
That's it.
So for T. Plouffe, our outstanding producer extraordinaire, the one and only Robbie Scirocco, poke your head in there, Robbie. Just poke. There he
Not
is.
that close.
There he
Jeez,
is.
bro.
That's a little too much. Nasal hair. I am Chris Rose. We will see you on Tuesday's edition of Baseball Today.